Hey guys, it's Elaine, the Ninja Life Coach, and today we're going to talk about things you can do to have freedom from an abusive situation. So sit back, grab yourselves a cup of coffee. I'll be right back. Hey guys, I'm back. Abuse is a very, very serious topic, and it's a topic that we like to sweep under the rug and really not talk about. But statistically speaking, in the United States, 1 in 3 women have been a victim of abuse. Now, think about that for just a second. When you go to church on Sunday morning, the lady to the left or the lady to the right, or you yourself have been a victim of abuse at one time or another in your life. And here are just 5 things that I jotted down that you can do if you are in an abusive situation to help you get free of that. I want to tell you, first of all, that there is no shame in being an abuse victim. This is not something that you did. This is something that was done to you. Abuse changes everything. It changes the way you feel. It changes the way you react to situations. It changes you emotionally. It changes you physically. It does a real number on our thinking and on our physical bodies. But there are some things you can do if you would truly like to break free of that abusive situation. Here are 5 things that I think would help you to move forward with that. And the first thing is often the hardest, and that is to recognize that you have been abused. I talk to a lot of women who have been in abusive situations, and I used to actually work at a halfway house for ladies who have been abused. I used to volunteer there 1 day a week. And talking to those ladies over the course of the year and that I volunteered there, and interacting in their lives and being just a part of them, I found a common pattern. Most of the ladies did not recognize that they had been involved in an abusive situation. They had no idea. They thought it was them. They thought it was something that I did. Well, if I had been kept quiet, if I hadn't said anything, if I had done this, then he wouldn't have hit me. If I had done that, then he wouldn't have said this, or he wouldn't have broken my nose if I hadn't have done this, or he wouldn't have slung the baby across the room if I hadn't have, and fill in the blank. Let's make this clear right from the start. There is no excuse for bad behavior. None. There is never an excuse to hit somebody. There is never an excuse to react in violence. Never. Never. Never an excuse for that. Never. So take yourself out of the situation for a moment and ask yourself, what would I do if my son or my daughter were in this situation? How would I react then? What advice would I give them? So recognize that this has been something that has been done to you. You have done nothing. You came into the relationship with the best of intentions, and this is something that has happened to you as a result of a flawed individual that has nothing to do with your actions or your behavior. Many times the other person could be, bipolar or a narcissist. Now, I'm not suggesting that all people who have bipolar disorder are abusive. I'm not suggesting that. But taken to the extreme, any condition can be deemed to be abusive. Wouldn't you agree? So maybe it's something of that nature. Maybe they have a true mental problem that they need some help with. But be that as it may, if they're not getting that help, you cannot fix them. You can only fix you. So recognize, hey, there is a problem here. I have been abused. Say it to yourself so that way you know you won't forget it. Write these things down that happened to you so you will have a record of everything and recognize it for what it is. There is actually something called trauma bonding. That's almost a tongue twister. Trauma bonding, where the victim becomes so enmeshed and bonded with the abuser that they really think the abuser has their best interests at heart. So I'm going to encourage you today to really explore that and see if you may be a victim of that. Look on the internet, look it up, read up on it, buy a book about it, and just see if that's you. And if it is, take steps to correct that. And that brings us right on to our second thing, and that is seek help. If you are a victim of abuse now, or you have been in the past and you have never gotten counseling, trust me on this one, you need it. There is no price you can put on your mental health. If you have been a victim of abuse in the past, or you are currently going through abuse, seek help. Please, I am begging you, this is extremely important because there are ways that your thinking pattern has been altered if you've been in years of systematic abuse. And you need to change the way you think, and counseling can really help you do that. It can really help you get down and keep you from making that same mistake over and over again with other people and hooking up with people who are just simply not good for you. So the third thing is, after you've recognized and you've sought counseling, make a plan. A good plan will take you really far in this world in anything you do. And that's what coaches do, is we help people formulate plans and set goals. This type of situation is no different. You have to make a plan to exit the situation. Some situations are extremely volatile. And if you just go in and sit down with a person who's abused you and says, hey, I'm leaving you, you're sorry, I'm not coming back, they're liable to take out a shotgun and blow your head off. I mean, I'm just being honest. That's statistically, that does happen. And I have to warn you about that. So I would say make a plan, make a secret plan. Don't tell your abuser what you're planning. Don't. Because if they're a narcissist, they're going to do a 15 or 20 different things to stop that plan. And if they're violent, you don't know what they're going to do. They're a loose cannon, and you need to have a plan and be prepared for that, because things could always turn violent. But if you have a good plan and you make that plan ahead of time, you have it written down, you have your steps to follow, and your counselor can help you with that, then you should be able to exit the situation in a graceful manner, as graceful a manner as is possible with given the situation. The fourth thing that brings us right on into the next thing, the fourth thing, and once you've made your plan, work that plan and don't deviate. Because let me tell you something from being involved with a narcissist. If you make a plan to leave and they find out and discover that plan, and you have made the steps to and started working that plan, a narcissist is going to do everything they can to derail that plan. They're going to tell you, they're going to love bomb you, they're going to threaten you, they're going to pull out all the stops to get you to do whatever it is they want you to do at that particular moment. But once you have set that plan in motion, work it. And try your best. There may be things that come up, there could be. You may have to take a different car. You may have to make other plans for transportation. All kinds of things like that may change, but don't deviate from the plan as much as possible. Please have an accountability partner with that, because that will really help you to keep to your plan. And the last thing that you do after you have recognized that you are an abuse victim and you have sought help, you've made a plan, you're working the plan, and the last one, you exit. That's difficult because most women who have been abused, it's not just a one-time thing. It's a situation that they have been in repetitively over a period of time, either by a spouse or a parent, or even a child sometimes can be abusive to their parents. So that is not always going to be easy, because once you do exit, all kinds of things are going to go through your brain. And the abuser themselves could possibly just harass you. But once you exit, leave. This brings me to mind of a story in the Bible of Ruth and Naomi. And Naomi was going back home to Bethlehem, and Ruth was going with her regardless of whatever. She was like, I'm not looking back. I'm not going back to my homeland. I'm not going. I'm going with you, Naomi, come what may. And she left her entire home and came with Naomi to a strange place. Where you're leaving from the land of familiar, going into unfamiliar territory, that's going to be scary. I'm not going to tell you it isn't. It's going to be scary. But once you get out there and once you start taking those steps, and if you are strong in your plan, and you've got that plan, you're working your plan, you're journaling, you're seeing your counselor, you'll be successful with it. You have greater odds of being successful if you do these things. And I am speaking to you guys from some personal experience and some experience that I've talked to a ton of ladies about this. But these are not really anything new. And they're not really, earth-shattering things, but they are the most difficult things to do sometimes when you are dealing with an abusive situation. And always keep in mind that someone who is verbally abusive, and you may say, well, my spouse is only verbally abusive. A verbal abuser can turn violent right like that at any time because they've already crossed the boundary line into abuse. So at any moment they could decide they're going to start hitting, or they're going to start slapping, or pushing or shoving or anything like that. So just keep that in mind, because abuse usually gets worse over time. That's the statistics, and unfortunately that's the way it is. Is there help for people who are abusers? I believe that there is. I believe if an abuser will submit himself to God and commit himself to really wanting to change, and number one, if they have to feel so miserable about themselves and what they've done that they're willing to get help. And a lot of times, if they're a narcissist, they won't do that because they're just far too vain and far too full of themselves to admit, I'm the one with the problem. It's never them, it's the rest of the world. But if they can ever get to that point through counseling to admit, you know what, I have a problem, and they work on that problem systematically over a period of time, and they improve and they improve and they improve, at that point you can make a decision if you want to continue the relationship or not. I will tell you right now ahead of time that most narcissists, and I'm speaking from experience with that, most narcissists will not change. Can they? Yes, it's possible they can, but most won't. But there's always the odd one every now and then that will change. So I can't tell you, no, they don't ever change, because sometimes, oddly enough, they do. And I believe with God and prayer, all things are possible. I hope you guys have a great day today, and I hope this helps you some if you've been in that situation, or if you know someone that's in that situation, send them the link to this video so they can watch it and at least be a little bit more prepared if they have to leave. Hope you guys have a great day today. Visit my website and check out my book on Amazon, Lord, Am I Going Crazy? It's a 30-day devotional guide for women over 40. God bless. Maranatha.